Good evening. It is time for the NX7062 podcast, and I am so happy to be with you here which is probably going to be my last week broadcasting before I take my spring break, just like spring/summer break, just like all good TV shows do. Yes, But no, I like to take a break, kind of regroup. Thinking about plans for the future. This podcast is definitely going to be back. Last year, I made it so that I came back in September, right after STLV, and I had a chance to put all the interviews and everything that I had going on together. I'm hoping, since creation is still saying that STLV is 78 days away, that it's still going to happen. And if all things are considered and all things are equal, I'll have a chance to maybe tuck in and get some interviews again this year. So even when I'm off, you'd be looking for me on all my social media so that you can give me your questions. Same rules apply as last year. If you go to the STLV website, if you look at their guest list, anybody that is listed as in the vendor's room is fair game. Unless they're on Discovery. Discovery is still pretty locked down, but anybody else that's in the vendor's room that's going to be there all week, I would hopefully have a chance to at least approach. I can make no guarantees as far as getting your questions answered. Last year, I got really lucky. The only person that I couldn't get was Anson Mount. Somebody wanted Anson, and I was like, oh, sorry. Yeah, that's not quite going to be able to happen. Couldn't get Anson, but I did get everybody else. I was just lucky that everybody else was somebody I knew. I got Aaron, and I got Bob O'Reilly and JG Hertzler and Connor and Dominic and Nicole DeBoer. So I'm hoping things will go smoothly. I'm hoping things will go smoothly again this year, again, assuming that it happens. And if you have a question for one of your favorites, then you can just let me know, and I will be happy to see what I can do for you. Good evening, Robert. As always, so glad to see you joining us. And like I said, right now, according to Star Trek Las Vegas, according to creation, it is still happening. It is just about 78 days away. And speaking of things that are happening, we are getting the Pike series. How could we not? After everything, everybody was yelling basically at CBS, telling them what we all wanted, what we needed, what we would absolutely 100% watch would be Anson Mount and Ethan Peck and Rebecca Romaine back in the roles of the Enterprise crew just before Kirk. The name of the show is called Strange New Worlds, basically, as the article said, because Star Trek Enterprise was taken. See, Enterprise? Anyway, so Strange New Worlds is happening. The little poster that I shared said fall 2021 for a release date. Whether they'll be able to pull that off obviously remains to be seen. Right now, we could consider that wishful thinking. I want to remind everybody that while I am simulcasting, I am here live on TV or YouTube, I should say. Hi. I'm also simulcasting as usual on my Spreaker platform. But I'm paying more attention to the video stuff because I can do more things with the video stuff. So don't chat at me on Spreaker, or if you do chat at me on Spreaker, I will try and check in on Spreaker, but I don't make any promises. Hi, Christopher. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Always good to see you here. So before we move into the topic of the evening, almost forgot to mention. So like I said, Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, got the three mains. We got Spock, we got number one, we got our Captain Pike. People are already talking about who needs to play the Doctor on the show. And the suggestion has already been made that it should be Jeffrey Combs. I second that suggestion. I absolutely think it should be Jeffrey Combs. Jeffrey Combs' response to people tweeting that at him is 2 chances, slim and none, and Slim has left the building, basically, which you could only just interpret as nobody asked me yet. Because honestly, who's to say if he wasn't asked that he wouldn't do it? So right now, obviously, CBS hasn't asked, but listen, we rattled the cages enough that they're giving us the show. So I don't see why they wouldn't at least maybe take a casting suggestion. It's not like we're asking for some unknown, untried person. We are basically asking for Star Trek royalty as far as he who has played the most roles throughout, Trek. So come on. I would love, and people are already putting up side by side pictures of him and the actor that portrayed him in the cage, the doctor in the cage. And yeah, I'm all for Jeff. Love Jeff Combs. So hopefully I'd love to see that happen. Next, I got to do a shout out to Raymond and to the Pop Hero Coalition, because Raymond has been very busy at the quote unquote sewing machine. Honestly, I don't know how he made them, but I am getting one. It is a Pop Culture Hero Coalition Be Kind mask. I have been looking to get something besides paper. I've been using bandanas lately going out. I feel like I'm in the Old West getting ready to go rob the stage. But just the other day on BeKindMerch.org, Raymond shared that they now have masks. Some of them say Be Kind. Some of them, the one I got, happens to have the Doctor Who quote, which is run fast, laugh hard, be kind. So that's what I got. It should be here in the next couple of days. I'm really excited. So not only are you going to be supporting Chase Masterson and Pop Culture Hero Coalition, but you will also be very socially responsible, looking good in a cloth mask as you go out. Just remember, the more that we obey the social distancing protocols set forward, the more we do our parts to stay at home, the better of our chances of all getting to go to STLV. Vegas is again slated to open up in the next couple of weeks for Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully that means, that by August, we'll be allowed to congregate more than 250 people, because as I have said before, 250 people at a convention doesn't cover the vendors, staff, and volunteers that Creation would have without even letting one ticketed person through the door. They would have already hit the $250 mask, hit 250 people maximum. That's the word I was looking for, max. But also, I think that somehow, some way, you'd have to do it by square footage. You can't just say all conventions have to be. You can't say all conventions need to be 250 people, because there's a convention that takes place in one ballroom at one hotel, and then there's a convention like STLV, which takes place in the massive complex that is the Rios Convention Center. I'm not saying that it should go up to the normal capacity, maybe, and I can respect that and understand that, but I think they can get away with more than 250 people in that large space. Hey, that is awesome. Somebody has bought 2 masks. That was amazing. I know what it's like. I couldn't resist either. The minute I saw it, I was out buying my mask the minute I saw the post. I was torn because I could get one that said Be Kind, but since I'm such a Doctor Who fan and they put the Doctor Who quote on the mask, I had to get the Doctor Who quote. So good on ya, as they say. Everybody should be going out and supporting Chase and Pop Hero. And again, and now you can be socially responsible and support Chase. You can't go wrong doing that. So I don't know what the rest of y'all did with your weekend, but what I did with my weekend for this magical little hour on Saturday, I went to Creations Q&A with Connor Trinneer and Dominic Keating. Yay! If this is the only time that I get to see them this year, I will be very disappointed. I am still hoping that that they'll be willing to do STLV if it happens. Again, it's 2 separate things, STLV happening and what guests are going to decide that it's safe enough to go. And I can absolutely respect that. But Dominic and Connor did a Q&A. They didn't give them my question. I was a little disappointed about that. They didn't give them my question. But that's okay. You know what? Hopefully there will be other times for them to see them and ask them my question. The question will keep. But anyway, so it was them on a video chat. It was supposed to be 45 minutes. It actually went it's just about an hour. A lot of fans were there. It was on Stage It, which is a pay what you want service. So I paid $1, and then I should have tipped. I was so engrossed in what they were saying, I forgot to hit tip, because you can actually tip the performers. It's this amazing live platform that does not save anything. So don't go looking for videos. They don't save anything because it's supposed to mimic an actual live performance where the person comes on stage, they do their thing, you tip them, whatever, and then they leave, and that's it. So there's no actual videos or saving of the performance, which disappointed a lot of people, because there were a lot of people very excited, obviously, that they were acknowledged and that their questions got answered. In fact, my buddy Mark, who follows me on Twitter, who is a huge Dominic Keating fan, who gave me 4 questions to ask Dominic at last year's STLV. But to be fair, I only asked 2. Was there, he actually got to ask Dominic a question, which is amazing. He lives, I'm 99% sure that he lives in Germany. And I know that their destination started, there was supposed to be a German convention. They pushed it off to next year. But yeah, so I'm not sure Mark's ever had the pleasure of meeting Dominic. So he actually got to ask him a question to his face, per se. So that was great. I'm sure he was very pleased about that. I actually had somebody, was very sweet. Somebody actually came to me on Twitter to kind of get the lay of the land, which made me really glad that I went to Chase's panel the Saturday before so I could get the lay of the land, because I'd never done this before. It's a moderated chat. So you throw up whatever you want in the chat room, but the moderator feeds the questions to the celebrities. So I don't know if they didn't see it. I don't know what happened, but they didn't get my question. But they got some really good ones. And they told some amazing stories. And I've heard Connor tell this story before, completely forgot about it. But when they first shot the pilot, it wasn't Charles Trip Tucker, it was Spike. His name was supposed to be Spike, but there was already a Spike on UPN at the time. So Rick Berman called him and was like, yeah, we're changing your name. I knew somebody that was a third, and they used to call him Trip because he was a third. So you're going to be Charles Trip Tucker the third. So I can't see Connor walking around for 4 seasons being called Spike. Trip suited him much better, my humble opinion. So that was one of the really cool stories. The other funny thing was, obviously they got a lot of questions about what are you doing during quarantine. Connor grew a beard. He mentioned that when he was on the podcast back in April, and he back and forth, he said, between wearing and not wearing, he was wearing. And he said he got a PlayStation 2. Or PlayStation 4, whichever the new one is. I'm not a gamer. And Dominic, of course, had to ask if he's played any of his games, because Dominic has voiced for World of Warcraft, but he said he's actually a pretty big character in Diablo. So if anybody plays Diablo, Dominic Keating voiced some character in Diablo. Don't ask me. It's on his IMDb page, though, if you want to go look. What else happened that was fun? Oh, somebody, of course, inevitably asked, what did you take from the set? Connor vehemently denies taking anything. Dominic, not only did he tell us that he took some rocks from one of the sets, he did get permission. He was very clear about that. He asked the prop master if he could take one. But he actually showed us around. He actually showed us around his house. He picked up his phone or whatever he was doing the video on. He's like, here, look, I got this over here. His house is so freaking clean. Oh my God. He said that's what he did. He went around and just clean. I mean, that was my whole thing when this whole thing started. I'm like, yay, time to clean. This is my office. I'm not even going to show you the stuff that you're not seeing is the clutter. But I wish I cleaned more than I have. And it looks like restrictions in Jersey might get lifted in about a month. So I should probably get on it if I have any hopes of cleaning my house before this whole thing comes to an end. Let's see. Okay, what else was notes? I told you I like to just sit and write my thoughts down. I am so old school when it comes to doing this stuff. Oh, and here's something I thought was really interesting. Somebody was asking them about things that they enjoy, things that they don't enjoy at conventions. Oh, questions. The question to them are there questions they could do without? And Dominic said yes. What they thought of the last episode and what do they think of the theme? I think I've mentioned this before. I refuse to watch the last episode. I'll watch it on Blu-ray, but I've already skipped it twice when it's come on Heroes and Icons. I won't watch it. I'll sit through it one more time on Blu-ray, and then I think I'll just call it quits. But and don't ask him. He's sung. I'm tooting my own horn, and I know that he's sung. Dominic has sung the theme with me. The first time that I did Star Trek karaoke in Vegas in 2017, he said he wasn't going to, and then he did. And the only video of that exists is on Instagram. If you really want to look it up, if you go into hashtag Faith of the Heart, and you're very patient and you scroll around, it's a video. You can see it's a far shot of a stage, and you'll see the TNG 30th anniversary logo on the back of the stage, because that's what they were celebrating that year. But yeah, so he likes it enough to sing it at karaoke. Connor likes it enough to defend it every time I go to sing it at karaoke. So they're okay with the theme. So you don't have to ask them that. But something that I have said many times in my Convention 101 podcast, and mentioned it when I did Convention 101 panel at when we were doing Holocon. Don't linger at the tables. Just if you have something to say, if you have a specific question, if you want to go for a chat, go ask your question and move along. Lingering at the tables keeps the actors from making money. And trust me, they don't want to be the bad guy that has to tell you, please, can you just scoot along? So, because honestly, and I've seen it happen where if somebody's lingering at the table, then the next person that wants to get an autograph or talk to them sees that this person's just taking up space. And a lot of times they're like, you know what? There's like 5 other people I want to go see. I'm going to skip this person and go to another person. So I've said it. Dominic has agreed with me. Not that he knew, because again, couldn't see him. But yeah, don't linger at the tables. Just, like I said, they're happy to talk to you and say hi. And but especially if you're not going to get an autograph, if you're just going to stand there, don't. I did that. I did that the first time I met Dominic. I was trying to think of something to say, and not, my brain wasn't working, and I couldn't think of a question. And he made it was funny, actually. It was kind of cute. He's like, because it was me and one other person, and he's like, if you guys are just going to keep standing here, I'm going to have to start charging. And I get it. He was there to make money, and he was right inside the door, so we were really stopping traffic. So yeah, don't linger. Let's see. Somebody also asked them about if they had any sort of, anything that they wished hadn't gotten covered. Well, yeah, an episode or something that happened that they wished hadn't happened, something about their character, some storyline that they wish hadn't been done, or a storyline that they wish would have been done. And of course, they both said that they would have liked to have been captain. Connor actually said, it would have been nice if Trip hadn't died. And then Dominic said if he was captain, he would take the Enterprise back and just park it at Risa. And just moor it and just be off of Risa the entire time. And considering the fact that he and that Trip and Reed were pretty much the only 2 people to have ever struck out on Risa before, I could completely respect and understand why he's like, I want to go park at Risa and try this whole thing over again. Maybe take some sort of scanner next time so that you can tell when you're talking to shape-shifting pickpockets. I don't know, just a suggestion. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? It was an hour-long chat, but it's not like I was sitting there taking notes. And technically creation really kind of doesn't want us, but I'm like, you know what? It wasn't open. Anybody could have gone. So I don't feel bad coming out and bringing you the highlights. Like I said, they don't want you recording these, understandably so. But I figure I could relate some of the funner stuff that happened. They were both wearing glasses, so that they could read the question, which was kind of really funny. They were like little twinsies with glasses. And you know what? They are friends for reals. They're friends in real life. And it shows the way that they goof around and the chemistry that they have when they're doing these panels together. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully STLV will happen, and hopefully they'll feel comfortable enough to go. Again, I really think it has to do with where we're at with the... Speaking of Reed, my cat Reed is under my desk playing with something. I just hope he doesn't pull the wrong cord. Anyway, so like I said, it just depends. Right now, there's only 72 guests. Star Trek Las Vegas announced a guest a couple weeks ago. Actually, I think it was the beginning of May. They announced a 72nd guest. I don't know if they have people that they're going to wait. And if they officially decided that it's going to happen, then all of a sudden, like they're going to announce 30 different guests and we're going to see 30 guests pop up, because obviously you don't want to start scheduling people right now that are going to back out. So far, nobody that is on that list is backed out. The other interesting thing that they said, that's the other thing. You kind of have to balance the fact that Hollywood is closed. Although both of them did say something about hearing about parts and auditions for things that people are hoping are going to start filming either in August or September. That's pushing it. LA's pretty still locked down. Vegas opening means people can come into Vegas. But LA's still pretty locked down. So whether filming is actually going to be happening at the end of the summer, beginning of the fall, who knows? So now we're looking at money. Health is incredibly important. Health doesn't pay your bills or your property taxes or, anything else that you got going on. So I'm sure some of the celebrities who, were in between jobs or whatever the case may be, at the time when this all hit, I really do think it's going to come down to, okay, are they going to make it safe enough to make it worth it? Because I can go, and for 5 days, I'm going to be guaranteed X amount of dollars. Because for any of you that don't know how conventions work, since I got some time, it's not quite, a half an hour in, and we all know I like to go at least a half an hour. The way these convention works is for the stars, there's celebrities who are like, okay, so you guys come out, sit down, and sign autographs. And we're going to guarantee you that you're going to walk out of here after 5 days with X amount of dollars. For example, $10,000. But you're responsible for selling your autographs. You're responsible for doing whatever you're going to do to make that money. And we guarantee you there's going to be enough people here that you're going to make $10,000. If you don't make $10,000, we're going to give you the difference. So between what you get paid, your percentage for the photo ops, when you're in the vendor's room, you're selling your own, you're on your own or whatever. You tell them at the end of it all, this is what I made. This is what you promised me. And then you walk out of there with at least what's called the guarantee. If you make more than the guarantee, then that's just icing on the cake. But they're only obligated to give you whatever is in your contract. Whatever you're guaranteed, you won't walk out of the convention with less than what's in your contract. So again, it really kind of depends on where these stars are financially. And Christopher brings up a really good point. Most people aren't going to make it from the UK. The flights are basically halted till September. It is going to hurt the convention. Christopher, you're absolutely right. It's going to hurt the fact that there's nobody really that's going to be able to make it internationally. And I can tell you that my friend from Ireland isn't going to make it. Her flight just got refunded. So she's got a voucher for next year. So at least the British Isles and Ireland and all those are definitely shut down, I suppose. I don't know how Europe's working. I don't know what they've decided to do. I asked Claire, they did this 80 days out, and I asked her if there was some way she could repurchase the ticket, and she said no, it's pretty much on a lockdown. But the other thing too is, from a lot of standpoints, I think the convention's going to have to go forward. If Las Vegas is open, if the Rio is open, if they're saying it's as close to business as usual as we can get by August 5th, Creations Insurance isn't going to cover it if they cancel. And you've got to figure everything that goes into Star Trek Las Vegas, whatever tickets they've sold, that they're going to have to turn around and dig into their own coffers to refund it. Which is why my personal opinion, Star Trek Las Vegas, as of right now, according to the website, is 78 days away. They're not changing it. Because right now, I don't think they can afford to. And even with the European contingent not being there, probably I'm not, and there's definitely, people that aren't just from Europe. There's people from all over the world, Asia, Australia. My friend from Australia isn't going to be able to make it. I've already talked to him. He doesn't think he's going to be able to make it out of Australia to come, which really sucks because I had birthday plans with him. Trent, who works the photo ops. If you are ever ever at Las Vegas STLV and you ever need to buy a photo op ticket, the guy with the salt and pepper hair with the Australian accent, Trent, awesome guy, adore him. Met him when I worked photo ops back in 2018. He's a sweetheart and a half. Adore Trent. So sad he's not going to be there. This is definitely, if it happens, it's definitely not going to be the same as any other year. It's definitely going to be a much more subdued experience. But like I said, my 50th birthday is actually right before the convention. And yes, I am turning 50. I kid you not. It's the Saturday before. So I really want to go. If it's happening, I'm going to go because it is what it is. And I'm going to go. Maybe I won't go the entire time. It also depends on whether Lambda Quadrant is able to procure a booth. I've talked to Creation about that as well, just letting them know, regardless of what other vendors are doing. If you've got other vendors that are pulling out, Lambda Quadrant would still like to have a booth. We'd still like to participate. I'm kind of wanted to put that in their heads because I have a feeling even if they go ahead, there's going to be vendors that are going to try and break their contracts or say it's too complicated to come with the way flights are and the way things are working. So, who knows? I mean, the whole convention scene for at least a year is going to be way more subdued than anything. I mean, we all know San Diego Comic-Con got canceled. WonderCon got canceled. New York Comic-Con is slated for October if it's still happening. I'm pretty sure New York Comic-Con's also jumping on the virtual bandwagon. Virtual conventions are incredibly popular. And honestly, I think it would be a mistake not to keep these sorts of things going. It might be harder to get celebrity guests once people's careers start picking up, once the film industry starts back up. I'm sure it'll be harder to get celebrity guests if that's all they want to do is host these Q&As. But by the same token, like I said, my friend Mark finally got a chance to see and communicate with Connor and Dominic, something I'm sure he's been dying to do if he hasn't already. I literally cannot remember if he met them, but even if he had, they don't go to Europe all that often. I mean, so it's just something, for people that can't get out. And I mentioned this last week when we were talking about it, people that can't get out or can't afford to travel to these conventions. So yeah, it's an untapped market that I think that these companies would be smart to keep servicing once everything gets back to normal. Robert brings up an interesting point. If STLV happens, a much better experience, lesser crowd. But there's a social aspect. I mean, yes, if you're claustrophobic, then yeah. I mean, if you don't, and I am not a big fan of crowds, I admit it. Being able to get from point A to point B at STLV can, be really difficult. But you know what? That's part of it is just, all the people, because you know what? Honestly, I met so many people when I worked photo ops back in 2018. There were people, I am friends with people that came through my line because they came through so many times, including a buddy, Chris, who lives in the UK, who's not going to be able to go. He lives in England. But there were so many other people that I met that recognized me on the cruise in 2019, that recognized me at STLV again this year, or in 2019, I should say. A year later, and that's what I love is this is a chance to run into people. So yes, lesser crowds is nice. Yes, that means less waiting in line. But like I said, who knows as far as the guests go, who's gonna keep their commitment, who's gonna decide it's not worth risking their health, even with a lesser crowd, which again does also mean less chance of spreading any illnesses. I know Connor's chomping at the bit to get out. He mentioned again about wanting to come and contact and hug people, which he also again said here. So he was just reiterating, I want to go out and hug people. And I'm thinking, I'm in line for one of those. Please come to STLV. He might, I don't know. I guess he's got a son, a teenage son. So obviously Jasper is foremost in his thoughts as far as, what he would bring home from Vegas. So, you may not want to, he may, take that into consideration as far as whether or not he's going to risk it. But I know he's somebody that's chomping at the bit. Dominic seems a little more zen about it. Just from a health standpoint, he's happy to kind of just, until it feels really safe. So again, is that going to be in 2 months? I'd like to think that it's going to be in 2 months because I kind of really want to see him. Just saying, just putting it out there to the universe. I know Christopher's planning on going to STLV. Robert, now that the prices have gone down, now that things are a lot cheaper, have you decided whether or not you're going to go to STLV or not? Like I said, I have made so many plans. I actually just reserved a rental car yesterday because I decided with everything that I want to be doing the weekend before STLV, it made sense to have a car to get around as opposed to lifting everywhere. Because by the time you get done lifting and tipping with everything else that we want to do, plus that way we can check out of the resort that we're staying at on Monday and go do the Target run, because the one thing about STLV is you are going to be trapped in the Rio. So bring your own food. Every room has a huge refrigerator. Huge for hotel standards. So definitely bring your own food. There is a Target. It is definitely an affordable Lyft ride if you don't have a car. It is down. It's on Flamingo. It's on the same road as the Rio, just on the other side of the strip. It's only a couple miles down the road. So definitely bring your own food. But like I said, it just made sense to have a car. And now that way on Monday, we can go do our Target run over to the Rio, check in, return the car, and then just be ready to be chopped at the Rio for however many from Monday to Monday, staying Monday to Monday if it happens. Leaving Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon. I actually got an afternoon flight. But I digress. Anyway, like I said, the Connor and Dominic panel was great. Hopefully, I know Creation has a plan to do more Q&As if they do it on Stage It. The minimum amount of these little tokens that you can buy is $5. 5 gets you 50. So they're 10 cents, they're a dime a piece. And you can literally spend $1 and go to one of these panels, and it's worth it. And again, you're helping support Creation as in a small way. You're helping to support the actors in a small way, which is better than no way, obviously. And the biggest tippers, like I said, you can tip. The biggest tipper at the end of the Connor Dominic panel got a 5-minute one-on-one session with them. It was 15 minutes after the hour. Then it was 15 minutes for them to break, and then they got 5 minutes with whoever the biggest tipper was by the end of the show. So that's kind of cool. So you also, depending on how badly you'd want a one-on-one, 5 minutes it's 5 minutes for me. I mean, it's a half an hour. I mean, I could say 5 minutes is nothing to me. So I'm like, let somebody else, let the rest of them compete. I don't need to compete for 5 minutes of their time. I mean, and after all, I did have Connor on here for an hour. So there was that. So big 5 minutes of Connor. We've talked already. I need to talk to Dominic. Hi, how are you? What's going on? What's shaking, bacon? Anyway, so thank you all for coming as usual and hanging out with me. I love seeing you all. Tell your friends to subscribe to the NX7062 podcast YouTube channel. Tell them to subscribe. Tell them to follow me all over the social medias. See? All over social media. Just follow me and all that fun stuff. I am going to be doing something on Wednesday. It's probably more than likely, I'm going to say as of right this moment, it is going to be the last show for the season. So if you guys have any suggestions, I am completely open. Maybe I'll see if I can dig up a guest just to practice the split screen stuff here and have some fun with that. A little bit of back and forth. We'll see how that goes. But again, thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me. I always love seeing you. Stay safe, stay healthy. Everybody, enjoy your Pop Culture Hero Coalition masks. Maybe, I don't know if I'm going to have mine by Wednesday. If I do, I'll be sporting it. If not, then I'll just take a picture and be posting it to social media. So everybody, take care of yourselves. And until Wednesday, live long and prosper.